Hi everyone and welcome to my February book haul. This book haul is going to consist of all the physical, Kindle and NetGalley books that I purchased or received in the month of February. I must have been having some sort of book breakdown in February because I've got 50 books to show you today. 50. I don't know what I was doing, but I will start with the NetGalley books. I will then move on to my Kindle purchases before ending on the physical books that I purchased. So yeah, on to the NetGalley books. All of these books are books that I received for free from the publishers via NetGalley. First of all, we have Don't Tell a Soul by M. William Phelps. Don't know an awful lot about this one except that it's a true crime novel, and it's been a while since I've picked one of those up, so I saw this one and thought, ooh yeah. Next we have a series of books that I picked up simply because I requested one, and it was the 7th in the series, and I thought, well actually wait a minute. I know that it's only like a typical mystery book and I don't need to read all the others, but all the others were also on there. So I requested all of them. Though I annoyingly didn't get all of them, so I need to still purchase a few of them. But the series and the ones that I did get from the publisher is the Inspector McLean series, and that is by James Oswald. So the first book is Natural Causes. The second book that I received is The Book of Souls. Then we have The Hangman's Song. Then we have Dead Men's Bones. Then I am missing books 5 and 6. I think I've already purchased one, or already owned one, so I just need to get the other one. And the 7th one, which is the one that came out at the end of February, is Written in Bones. And so yeah, they looked just my cup of tea, and I really love reading books like those in the whole series order rather than just jumping around about, so I decided to grab them all and marathon them basically. Then we have two books that really stood out to me. They are YA books, but they are set in Egypt, and I love a good bit of like Egyptian history thrown into my books. So this one seems to sort of have history somehow entwined in it. I'm not sure whether it's like a bit of historical fiction. More likely it's just some sort of weird sort of fantasy kind of thing where stuff starts coming to life. I don't really properly know. Looks kind of really up my street though, so even though I've never seen anyone really mention this before, I thought I'd check it out. So we've got Asp of Ascension, which is the first book in the Nefertari Hughes mystery series by B.R. Myers. And I also, because I was that excited at the time, decided to pick up the second one too, which is Diadem of Death, again by B.R. Myers. So I'm really interested in those. I don't know when I'll get to them because they're not at the very top of my priority list, but at the same time I am quite intrigued, and they are quite different to anything I've probably ever read before. Next we have Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemmerer. This is another YA novel, and it focuses on a girl who loses her mum and writes letters to her mum even when she's dead, hence Letters to the Lost. Then we have Sea by Sarah Driver, and this is a middle grade novel that again I don't know an awful lot about because I went book crazy. I don't think I even can remember what half of these are about anymore, but all the same, this one has been blurbed as being perfect for readers age 9+ that are fans of the likes of Philip Pullman. And obviously I reread The Northern Lights, was it last month? This month? Recently, and really enjoyed rereading it, so I thought that counts me as a fan, I'm going to go for this. Then we have a book that grabbed me from the cover straight away, Felix the Railway Cat by Kate Moore. I'm a sucker for all cat and dog kind of books, and I saw this and was like, oh, that looks such an interesting read. And basically Felix arrived at Huddersfield train station as an 8-week-old kitten, and it's just his effect on him being there at the train station, the effect on the commuters, that kind of thing. It looks a really interesting story. Then we have It's Always the Husband by Michelle Campbell, and this is meant to be a novel that really sort of focuses on friendship and the complexities of it, and I think it has quite a sort of mystery. Yeah, one of them dies under mysterious circumstances, and it just sounds really intriguing from that. Then we have a book that I've already read, absolutely loved and gave 5 stars to, and that is The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. This book is already out in the UK, but I got a copy from the US publisher, so my review for this will not be up until towards the end of June. However, if you're in the UK, you can already go out and get this, and I highly suggest you do because it's just the most fantastic book I think I've probably ever read psychological thriller-wise. I was just blown away. It kept my mind guessing the entire time. I can still find myself thinking about this book even now, and I read it a good few weeks ago now, like, you need to read it. Then we have We All Begin as Strangers by Harriet Cummings. and this is a historical thriller set in the 1980s in an old English village. Next we have All the Good Things by Claire Fisher. Oh, that was it. This one it intrigued me with having the line, does anyone, even a 100% bad person, deserve a chance to be good? That pulled me in alone. Then we have The House of Mount Fathom by Nigel McDowell. And I can't remember much about this one, but I can remember that it's set in Ireland. Then we have The Doll Funeral by Kate Hamer. And this book was described as being quite dark, and I'm all about those dark books. So again, didn't know much more than that, just went into it on that alone basically. Next we have About Last Night by Catherine Elliott. And I requested this one because I was going through a sort of chick lit kind of phase, and this one just caught my eye at that moment, and I was like, yeah, I need something like that in my life right now. Then we have Ultimatum by K.M. Walton. Oh, I'm losing my voice, not even halfway done. And this is a YA novel about a boy who is disrespected by his father. He's having major family troubles. His mother's died. It looks really quite heart-wrenching and difficult to read, and I probably don't read enough books like that. I like to pick one up every once in a while, so I saw this one and was like, that one is going to break me. I fancy that one. Next we have The Dead Inside by Cindy Etler, and this is a YA biography and memoir, which isn't something I see very often, and so it caught my eye. And it's about a girl who came from quite a violent home, and I've read books like that in the past. One that really sticks in my mind is Once in a House on Fire. I can't remember the author, but I loved that one. Still own it somewhere. It's somewhere on my bookcase. And that is one that it really stood out to me as like a read that I can still remember like 15 years later, so I thought I'd give this one a go. Next we have Everything You Do Is Wrong by Amanda Coe. And this is a YA novel that looks a little bit strange, to be honest. So apparently a teenager is craving for drama and then finds a naked woman on a beach, and the woman is actually alive. You'd expect that to not be the sort of books I pick up, but she's actually alive, but she doesn't know who she is or where she came from. And I think this book just sort of covers the mystery behind that. Then we have A Twist of the Knife by Becky Masterman. And this caught my eye because it starts off with saying it takes a strong woman to be able to watch someone die. And I wanted to see more about what that was going to be about. Then we have Let the Dead Speak by Jane Casey. And this is a crime novel. Then we have The Shadowland by Elizabeth Kostova. And I read The Historian by this author about 8 years or so ago, and I absolutely loved it. It took me forever to get through because it was a beast of a novel, as is this one, huge, and it has its slow parts. So I feel like this one is going to have its slow parts too, so I'm not in any major rush to read it because I feel like it'll be one of those books that I'll probably be reading for about 3 months. But I couldn't resist the chance to pick this up because I loved her writing last time. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Then we have Love in an English Garden by Victoria Connolly. This is an author that, again, I've read something by in the past. I've read Molly's Millions by her in the past, and I loved that one. It was just such a inspiring yet quick chick lit with thought, and I really enjoyed that. And so when I saw the chance to pick up another book by this author, I jumped. Next we have Goodbye Days by Jeff Zentner. And this is a YA novel that I've seen starting to float around a little bit on BookTube. And this is something that's quite sort of important in this day and age because this boy's friends die in a car crash that he believes he has caused because he texted the driver. And obviously they crashed. And this just covers all of the thoughts involved in that, the guilt, the aftermath of all of this, and it looks a really heartbreaking read. Next we have Countless by Karen Gregory. And I believe this book covers teenage pregnancy. And then we have The Threat Level Remains Severe by Rowena MacDonald. And this one seems to follow sort of career and political kind of storyline, and it was just something that I've not picked up in quite a long time. I wanted to kind of just pick something like that up again. And then we Ran by Katie Cannon. This is another YA novel with a road trip story, and I enjoy a good road trip story occasionally, so I thought I'd check this one out. Next we have The Magician's Lie by Graham McAllister. And this one is described as being a magical and mysterious historical thriller, and that's like two of my favourite genres mixed into one. And it's described as being perfect for fans of The Night Circus and Water for Elephants. I've read most of Water for Elephants before. I didn't get to finish all of it before I had to check it back into the library. And so I need to finish that sometime, but the bit that I did read, I absolutely enjoyed. I've seen the film, loved it, so this sounded like it probably will be perfect for me. Then we have Find Me by J.S. Munro. And this one is a psychological thriller that I have been seeing around and about, and I definitely need to get to ASAP. Next we have Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. I picked this one up basically because it's by Claudia Gray and I've heard her name floating around quite a few times. I've heard good things about her books in the past. And so this is a YA sci-fi novel and I don't know much more than that. Next we have Flesh and Bone and Water by Louisa Sorma. And this is about a Brazilian-born doctor who is living in London when he receives a letter from his home country, which he left nearly 30 years ago. And so he has to journey back to Brazil, and I just thought that this was so different to anything that I've ever picked up, and I was intrigued to learn more. Next we have Out of Heart by Irfan Master. And this is about a boy who loses his grandfather, and it looks quite heartbreaking again. I was going through quite a miserable time of it in February, I think. And the final book from the publishers via NetGalley that I have to show you is Frog Kisser by Garth Nix. And this is an author who I have seen floating around quite a lot. I've never picked up anything by him before, but this one really caught my eye just because that cover, you can't miss that cover. And so this one's actually children's fiction, it's a sci-fi fantasy novel, and I thought I'd give it a go. So on to the Kindle books that I purchased in February. First of all, we have It Takes One, which is the first book in the Audrey Hart series. I don't know how this ever ended up onto my wish list other than the fact that it's a psychological thriller, I think, and I can't remember where I heard about it, who recommended it, but there we are. Then we have Margot and Me by Juno Dawson, and this is a book that I actually added to my Kindle wish list after watching a video by Maddie and B where they talked about Juno Dawson and all of their works, and this one really caught my eye along with many of the others, so I added most of them to my wish list. I saw this one drop to 99p, so I saw my chance to go and buy it. Then we have Goosebumps, the movie novel, and I bought the movie for Christmas by my boyfriend, and so I added a load of Goosebumps books to my wish list around that time after watching it, including this one, and this one dropped to 99p the other week, so I bought it. Then we have My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Waga, and I don't know how this one ended up on my wish list either, not a clue. But it's described as being a brilliant and heartbreaking novel for fans of John Green. And so, I've not actually read any of John Green's novels either, but all the same, I probably will like this, so I thought I'd give it a go. Then we have The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which is the second book in the Chronicles of Narnia. And I used to watch the TV show when I was a really young child. I think I read some of the books from the library again when I was a really young child. But I've never owned the whole collection or anything, and I'd really like to buy them all and then read them. So I'm slowly working my way through that little project. Then we have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renée Ahdieh, and I've seen so many people talk about this since it came out, and I've just jumped on the bandwagon because it was 99p. Then we have Vendetta, which is the first book in the Blood for Blood series. I've seen quite a few people love and enjoy this. It's by Catherine Doyle, and I really just saw my chance again to jump on the bandwagon, 99p. Then I added another book to my Page Toon collection, which is Johnny Be Good. Again, I'm trying to collect all of this author's works so I can read them in publication order. And in February, as I've already mentioned, I went through quite a bit of a chick lit phase, so I bought a few different chick lit books. So we've got Who's That Girl, which is by Murari McFarlane. We also have Summer Nights at the Moonlight Hotel by Jane Costello. We Were on a Break by Lindsay Kelk. And The Bucket List to Mend a Broken Heart by Annabelle. And yeah, that ends my little sort of chick lit little bulk purchase. Then we have Changeling, which is the first book in the Order of Darkness series by Philippa Gregory. I've read The Other Berlin Girl by her and I absolutely adored it. I read that quite a few years ago now, maybe even about 10 years ago to be honest. And I enjoyed that book that much that I have since been buying all of her other work, even though I've not read any more of them yet. Ooh, that was it for the Kindle books. I didn't realise I was at the end already, so we're nearly done. I just need to show you the physical books now. So the first book I bought in February was Kemmerer by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, because I've been meaning to pick this up for a while. I read Illuminae last year and adored it, and so I have been waiting for the chance to buy this, and I just randomly, spur of the moment in February, decided it was time to treat myself to it. This one's quite a bit chunkier than the first book feels, even though it's not that many more pages, but I can't wait to check this one out. I've heard slightly more mixed things about this one than what I had the first one, but all the same, So happy to have this. And the final book in this haul is My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. If you have watched my review of this or my wrap-up mentioning this, you will see that I absolutely adored this and gave it 5 stars. Probably one of my favourite books of this year, if not my absolute favourite book. And definitely my favourite Sophie Kinsella book so far, which is just crazy to think. But her writing has just improved so much, and by this one, she's honestly my favourite author after reading this. If you want to check out my review for this, I will leave a link in the cards above and also in the description below if you want to check the review for this one out. So that brings us to the end of this massive February book haul. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. If you have made it this far, you are fantastic. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me just up there if you want to see more bookish videos and content by me. And I will see you on Wednesday with my weekly reading wrap up. Bye bye!